Good evening. Today we would like to celebrate the African heritage through poetry, music, and song. We will start with the homeland, Africa, then follow in the traces of Africans in the Americas. Even though we may be thousands of miles apart and have been separated for centuries, even though we may speak different languages, Africans and people of African descent share a common history. First of all, a common cultural history, which constitutes the basis, the foundation of an African soul and worldview. But also a common history of oppression, which emerges through the voices of our poets today. We constitute, in the words of Frantz Fanon, and I quote, a community of common origins and suffering. But let us start with the African continent itself. For centuries, Africans have sung their heroes, their daily lives, their hopes and dreams, constituting a rich repertoire of songs and stories in African languages. The spoken word in the African tradition is more powerful than anything in writing. It reflects an effort to carry a people's soul and memory across time, across space, from generation to generation. Stories and praise songs keep the memory of a people alive. And the next song, entitled Tofe, is a song from the Ivory Coast and celebrates the vitality of the Baoulé people. The song is about Queen Ablapoku, who, to save her people, sacrificed her only son to the Komoe River, as demanded by the water gods. They were able, after the sacrifice, to cross the river and to escape an enemy army that was at their heels. Baoulé, the name of the ethnic group, means itself, the child is dead. African proverbs are an integral part of African culture. We use them to entertain, to educate, and to pass on important messages about our African values from generation to generation. Here to share a few words of wisdom in Yoruba is Aremu Mbande.
Ekason, Baroni, Oruko, Mini, Aremu. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Aremu Mbandi, and I direct the African American Male Resource Center here at Chicago State University. I'm very excited to be participating in this Poetry of the Diaspora event hosted by the Department of Foreign Languages. And today I will be reciting a proverb in Yoruba, which is a language that is spoken by the Yoruba people of southwest Nigeria, Benin, and really all throughout the world, right? The Yoruba language is one that really influences the cultural expression and the spiritual philosophy of so many Black people. I mean, so from Brazil to Cuba to Haiti, all throughout the United States of America. So it's a language that really resonates with me. I want to learn more about, and that I think really inspires a lot of depth to my own cultural identity and heritage, right? So this proverb, which is very, very short, and for those who do speak Yoruba, please excuse any mispronunciation that I may have. I am clearly not a native speaker or fluent, but the English translation of this proverb is, you cannot deal with God and remain the same. God makes things better. Trust God, right? Very simple. Aki iba olorum showo ka padanu. Aki iba olorum showo ka padanu. No one trades with God and loses. All right. So the direct translation is, nobody trades with God and loses. But what we can take from this is that you cannot deal with God and remain the same. So what I've learned about this is that in the Yoruba philosophy, right, God, or the incomprehensible creator of all things, which resides in us and resides in the natural world, is one that is good, one that provides balance. And if we're in tune with the Great Spirit, we can never lose. So, during a time like today, where so much is changing, I think this proverb is very relevant and resonates with me a lot. But anyways, happy Black History Month, everybody. I hope that you enjoy this event and that you continue to participate in our program of events all throughout the month. Odabo, goodbye.
Hausa is one of the most important tools of communication in West and Central Africa. It is spoken by over 40 million people. And here to share some wisdom in Hausa is our own Dr. Ubanjigi from the Department of English and Foreign Languages.
Oh, hello, my name is Dr. Ubangiji Yakubu. I'm a professor of Chicago State University. I teach courses in linguistics, and sometimes I also teach legal writing. Today I'm going to talk about Hausa proverbs and sayings or idiomatic expressions. The Hausa language is one of the largest languages in terms of speech community or size in the whole of Africa, or in West Africa, definitely. In the latest statistics I've seen, said that there are about 80 million speakers of Hausa as first and second language. The language originated mainly from Nigeria and Niger, but it's also spread all over West Africa, Togo, Ghana, part of Central Africa, Cameroon, Central African Republic, and what have you. The first saying that I have for you is number one. It says, "Gidabu maganin gobara." Gidabu maganin gobara. What that means is, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Gida is house, Gobara is fire incident or disaster. So what they mean by that is that if you have two houses, Bill means two, you could prevent, if one catches fire, you actually have the other one to rely on. So Gida Bill Magin Gobara simply meaning don't put all your eggs in one basket. The second one I'd like to talk about says the following. Wanda ya kula da kashi shi ke jin warin ta. Wanda ya kula da kashi shi ke jin warin shi. What that means is that he who the cap fits must wear it. If you're paying attention to something, that thing will bother you. That's what that means. Wanda ikula kashi, shike warensa. Number 3 is the following. Wanda izagi akaswa, yasanda waiki. Simply meaning he who throws jabs in the open marketplace knows his own target, knows his or her target. Wanda zagi akaswa, yasanda waiki. Next is says tambaya mai tambaya baya bachi. Mai tambaya baya bachi. It simply means he who asks questions never get lost or never gets missing. What that simply actually means is seek knowledge and you find it. If you ask, you always get answers to your questions. Mai tambaya baya bachi. Next is ruabata nyami banza or ruabata tsami banza, which means everything happens for a reason. Rua is water. It doesn't get let's say sour for no reason. That's what it simply means. Tilas batarasa wenkwalava. What that means is hard work is always rewarded. Tilas batarasa wenkwalava. That's what simply that means. So I'm going to recapitulate the ones I have mentioned. Number 1, gidabu maganin gobara. Number 2, wanda ya kula da kashi shi ke jimarin sa. Number 3, wanda ya zagi a kasuwa ya san da wa yake yi. Number 4, mai tambaya baya baci. And then I also give you ruwa bata nyami banza, or some people say ruwa bata tsami banza. Lastly, I mentioned tilas bata saurin kwana, which means hard work is always rewarded. So that's about it. So we learned a little bit about Hausa proverbs or saying today. Thank you.
One of the cultural tools of resistance against colonialism was the Negritude movement. It was an important movement in the early 20th century because it brought together Africans, Afro-Caribbeans, and other Africans throughout the world as they recognized their common heritage, their commonalities, and the need to reclaim their identities. The founders of the Negritude movement, Léopold Sédar Senghor from Senegal, Léon Gontran Damas from French Guiana, and Aimé Césaire from Martinique, were inspired by Afro-American poets of the Harlem Renaissance and turned to their roots, their Africanness, in search of their identities that they felt had been degraded or lost. The poem Masque by Léopold Sédar Senghor illustrates the African worldview with its belief in the invisible realm and also the strong belief in the cult of the ancestors. Senghor also attacks in his poem colonialism and the exploitation of Africans. Finally, the poem is a cry for each man and each woman, African and other, to bring something to the table of what he calls la civilisation de l'universel. One's rhythms, goodwill, and creative abilities to construct a better and more humane world. Performing Masque is Leonetta Dunn.
Masque ou masque. Masque noir, masque rouge ou masque blanc et noir. Masque aux 4 points du souffle, l'esprit. Je vous salue dans le silence. Et toi le dernier, ancêtre à tête de lion. Vous gardez ce lieu, vos clos à tout rire de femme, à tout sourire que se fan. Vous distillez cette air d'éternité, où je respire l'air de mes pères. Masque au visage sans masque, depuis de toute fossette comme toute ride. Qu'ils avaient composé ce portrait, ce visage mis en penche sur l'autel de papier blanc et votre image. Écoutez-moi, car qui apprendrait le rythme au monde de fond des machines et des canons, qui pousserait des cris de joie pour réveiller, pour mort aux filiants à l'allure. Dites qui rendrait la mémoire de vie à l'homme aux exploits et ventres. Ils nous disent les hommes du coton, du café, de l'huile. Ils nous disent les hommes de l'amour. Nous sommes les hommes de la danse, dont les pieds reprennent figure en frappant de sol dur.
Others followed in the footsteps of Léopold Sédar Senghor. Birago Diop, in his poem Souffle, celebrates once again the strong spirit of the ancestors and describes a borderless world, a world in which the spiritual and the material are one. Performing Souffle is Stride Désir.
Écoute plus souvent les choses que les êtres. La voix du feu s'entend. Entends la voix de l'eau. Écoute dans le vent le buisson sans anglo. C'est le souffle des ancêtres. Ceux qui sont morts ne sont jamais partis. Ils sont dans l'ombre qui s'éclaire et dans l'ombre qui s'épaissit. Les morts ne sont pas sous la terre. Ils sont dans l'arbre qui frémit. Ils sont dans le bois qui gémit. Ils sont dans l'eau qui coulait. Ils sont dans l'eau qui dort. Ils sont dans la cassée. Ils sont dans la foule. Les morts ne sont pas morts. Écoute plus souvent les choses que les êtres. La voix du feu s'entend. Entends la voix de l'eau. Écoute dans le vent le buisson sans anglo. C'est le souffle des ancêtres nos morts, qui ne sont pas partis, qui ne sont pas sous la terre, qui ne sont pas morts. Ceux qui sont morts ne sont jamais partis. Ils sont dans le sein de la ferme. Ils sont l'enfant qui vagit et dans le tisson qui s'enflamme. Les morts ne sont pas sous la terre. Ils sont dans le feu qui s'éteint. Ils sont dans les herbes qui pleurent. Ils sont dans le rocher qui gêne. Ils sont dans la forêt. Ils sont dans la demeure. Les morts ne sont pas morts. Écoute plus souvent les choses que les êtres. La voix du feu s'entend. Entends la voix de l'eau. Entends dans le vent le buisson sanglant. C'est le souffle des ancêtres.
Agostinho Neto was the first president of Angola, a country that had been under Portuguese occupation for over 400 years. Agostinho Neto is considered one of the preeminent African freedom fighters of the 20th century. His work, his activism, his leadership in armed conflict against the Portuguese led to the independence of Angola in 1975. The following poem, entitled Havemos de Voltar, We Shall Return, was written from his prison cell in Lisbon. The poem symbolizes the return of lost son, of all the exiles, all the freedom fighters, a call for their return to the homeland, and the reattribution of African resources to Africans for the benefit of Africans. A message that still touches us today and that is still relevant today. Reading Havemos de Voltar is our own Malachi spells.
Temos de voltar. As casas, as nossas lavras, as praias, os nossos campos, as vemos de voltar. As nossas terras, vermelhos do café, brancas de algodão, verde de marrais, as vemos de voltar. As nossas minas de diamantes, ouro, cobre, de petróleo, as vemos de voltar. As nossos rios, nossos lagos, as nossas montanhas e florestas, as vemos de voltar. As frescuras de malemba, as nossas corações, os ritmos e as fogueiras, as vemos de voltar. A marimba e canções, as nossas carnaval, as vemos de voltar. A bela pátria angolana, nossas terras, nossos mares, as vemos de voltar. As vemos de voltar, Angola libertante, Angola independente.
When we think about the African diaspora, we think about the millions of Africans that were deported from their homeland. We also think about the traumatic experience of the Middle Passage. As Africans were deported to the New World, they carried along with them their cultures, their languages, their traditions. In places such as Haiti, Martinique, Cuba, all through Latin America, poets and writers have proudly reclaimed their identities and made visible the deep connections that remain with their African brothers and sisters. Cuban-born Nancy Morejon brings back the memory of slavery from a black woman's point of view. In her poem entitled Mujer Negra, it is not just the tale of a slave's dream of returning home and the longing most uprooted Africans will have. It is also the consciousness and the realization of rebirth in a distant land that she brings forth. Y porque trabajé como una bestia, aquí volví a nacer. And because I worked like an animal, here I also came to be reborn. Performing Mujer Negra is Alexandra Gonzalez.
Mujer negra. Todavía huelo la espuma del mar que me hicieron atravesar. La noche, no puedo recordarla, ni el mismo océano podría recordarla. Pero no olvido del primer Alcatraz que debí ser. Altas las nubes, como inocentes testigos presenciales. ¿Acaso no he olvidado ni mi costa perdida, ni mi lengua ancestral? Me dejaron aquí y aquí he vivido. ¿Y por qué trabajé como una bestia? Aquí volví a nacer. ¿A cuánta hipopía mendiga intente recurrir? Me rebelé. Su merced me compró en una plaza. Bordé la casaca de su merced y un hijo macho le parí. Mi hijo no tuvo nombre, y su merced murió a manos de un impecable lord inglés. Anduve. Esta es la tierra donde padecí bocabajos y azotes. Bogué a lo largo de todos sus ríos. Bajo su sol sembré, recolecté y las cosechas no comí. Por casa tuve un barcarón. Yo misma traje piedras para edificarlo, pero canté al natural compás de los parajos nacionales. Me subleve. En esa tierra toqué la sangre húmeda y los huesos podridos de muchos otros, traídos a ella o no igual que yo. Ya nunca más imaginé el camino a Guinea. ¿Era a Guinea, a Benín, era a Madagascar o Cabo Verde, trabajé mucho más. Funde mejor mi canto milenario y mi esperanza. Aquí construí mi mundo. Me fui al monte. Mi real independencia fue el palenque y cabalgué entre las tropas de Macío. Solo un siglo más tarde, junto a mis descendientes desde una azul montaña. Paje de la sierra. Para acabar con capitales y usureros, con generales y burgueses. Ahora soy. Solo hoy tenemos y criamos, nada nos es ajeno. Nuestra la tierra, nuestros el mar y el cielo, nuestras la magia y la quimera, iguales míos. Aquí los veo bailar, alrededor del árbol que plantamos para el comunismo. Su prodiga madera ya risueña.
Powerful revolutionaries such as Toussaint Louverture, but also creative spirits, poets, writers, artists, stem from Haiti, the first Black republic in the New World. Haiti was founded by Africans who won freedom by force of arms. Despite Haiti's history of challenges, its people continue to show their spirit of resilience and pride. Poet Marie-Thérèse Colimont-Hall wants her land to be known as a place of natural beauty, but also as the place that brandished that first light of Black freedom in the New World. S'il fallait raconter mon pays, if I were to tell you about my country, these are some of the things I would love for you to know.
Mon pays. S'il me fallait au monde présenter mon pays, je dirais la beauté, la douceur et la grâce de ces matins chantants, de ces soirs glorieux. Je dirais son ciel pur, je dirais son air doux, l'étagement harmonieux des monts bleuissants, les molles ondulations de ces collines proches, les émeraudes changeant des cannes au soleil, les cascatelles glissant entre les grosses pierres, diaphanes chevelures entre des droites nouilles, et le soleil plongeant dans des mers de turquoise. Je dirais, torches rouges tendues à firmament, la beauté fulgurante des flamboyants ardents. Et c'est bleu, et c'est vert, si doré et limpide, qu'envoûterait dans ses bras serrés le paysage. Je dirais la madra de la femme en bleu, qui descend le sentier, son panier serre la tête, l'onduleux balancement de ses hanches robustes, et la mélopée grave des hommes dans les champs, et la moulin grinçant sous la lune la nuit. Les feux sur la montagne à mi-chemin du ciel, les cafés qu'on recule sur les sommets altiers, les entêtants ceintures des goyaves trop mûrs, je dirais dans la vie les trosses nus et bronzes. De ceux qui, dans la rue, sous la dure chaleur. Mais j'enfrerai ma voix d'un ardu plus curieux, pour dire la violence de ceux qui ont forgé. Je dirai la leçon qu'au monde, plus qui ont donné. J'honorerai ceux qu'on croyait des esclaves soumis. Je dirai la fierté, je dirai l'après-aigu. Présenter qu'à nous berceau nous trouvons déposés. Et la farouche amour que nous portons en nous, pour qu'une liberté a pris 3 fois sanglant. Et le bouillonnement montant dans nos artères, lorsque fond de nos bois nous entendons l'appel. Du conique tambour que
nos lointains ancêtres ont porté jusqu'à nous des rives de l'Afrique, mais vers qui sans cessant tourner nous regardent. S'il me fallait au monde présenter mon pays, je dirais plus encore, je dirais moins encore. Je dirais ton cœur bon au peuple de chez nous.
He came from Africa and fought alongside Oda Nobunaga, a 16th century feudal lord in Japan. His name was Yasuke, or the Black Samurai, as he was also known. This is his story and a poetic homage in English and Japanese by Elaj Tal.
My name is Yasuke. My Japanese sword is my cane. It helps me walk and keep the peace. I'm a hawk and fly like a geese. From the motherland I was born and raised. Now Japan is where I spend most of my days. The women tease me because I'm so tall, but I still serve to protect them when they call. The Japanese find it strange that I came from overseas, but I speak the language and it puts them at ease. My name is Yasuke, the Black Samurai. I carry the Japanese flag proud and high. Watashi no namae wa Yasuke desu. Watashi no ken wa watashi no tsue desu. Sore wa watashi ga aruki. Heiwa o tamotsu no o tasukemasu. Watashi wa taka de gacho no yo ni tondemasu. Watashi wa sokoku kara umare, sodachimashita. Ima watashi wa hotondo no hi o Nihon de sugoshitemasu. Watashi wa totemo se ga takai no de, jose wa watashi o karakaimasu. Shikashi karera ga denwa o kaketa toki. Watashi wa mada karera o hogo suru no ni yakudachimasu. Watashi ga kai ga kara kita no wa Nihonjin ga fushigi da. Shikashi watashi wa soko de gengo o hanashimasu. Soshite sore wa karera o anshin sasemasu. Watashi no namae wa Yasuke. Kuro samurai desu. Watashi wa Nihon no koki o hokore ashige ni kagakete imasu.
May Ayim was an Afro-German poet lost too soon. She was born in 1960 and passed at a young age at 36. May Ayim brought cultural diversity and strong anti-racist accents in her writings. In the following poem entitled Nachtgesang, Night Song, May Ayim integrates what she calls Wortmalereien, or word paintings, to express her lost love. Performing Nachtgesang is Dr. Sunya Tal.
Nachtgesang by May Ayim. Night Song. Ich warte nicht mehr auf die besseren Zeiten. Schwarz-blauer Himmel über uns, Silbersterne dran, Hand in Hand mit dir den Fluss entlang. Bäume links und rechts, Sehnsucht auf den Ästen, Hoffnung im Herz. I no longer wait for the better times. Midnight blue sky above silver stars, upon it, hand in hand with you, along the river. Trees right and left, desire in their branches, hope in my heart. Ich räume mein Zimmer auf, ich zünde die Erze an, ich male ein Gedicht. I straighten up my room, I light a candle, I paint a poem. Ich küsse mich nicht mehr deinen Körper entlang, durch deinen Nebel hindurch, in deine Träume hinein, meine Liebe in deinem Mund, dein Feuer in meinem Schoß, Schweißperlen auf der Haut. I no longer kiss my way down your body through your navel, into your dreams. My love in your mouth, your fire in my lap, pearls of sweat on my skin. Ich ziehe mich ganz warm an. Ich zeichne die Lippen rot. Ich spreche mit den Blumen. I dress myself warmly. I paint my lips red. I talk to the flowers. Ich lausche nicht mehr auf ein Zeichen von dir. Hole deine Briefe hervor, schaue deine Bilder an, Diskussionen mit dir bis nach Mitternacht. Visionen zwischen uns, Kinder lachen uns zu. I no longer listen for a sign from you. Take out your letters, look at your pictures, conversation with you till midnight. Visions between us, children smiling at us. Ich mache die Fenster weit auf. Ich schnüre die Schuhe fest zu. Ich nehme den Hut. I open the windows. I tie my shoes tight. I get my hat. Ich träume nicht mehr. In einsame Stunden, dein Gesicht in die Zeit. Dein Schatten ist nur eine kalte Gestalt. I no longer dream in lonely hours. Your face into time, your shadow is only a cold figure. Ich packe die Erinnerung ein, ich blase die Kerze aus, ich öffne die Tür. I pack the memories up, I blow the candle out, I open the door. Ich warte nicht mehr auf die besseren Zeiten. I no longer wait for the better times.
Thank you for joining us today in our voyage through poetry in many different languages. Foreign language for many of our students has really been a doorway to looking at experiences beyond our borders and gaining a better understanding of history and of the human experience in general. A big thank you, merci, obrigada, to our traveling griots, and they're able through languages to travel in their minds all over the world. Today, it was through poetry. Hope to see you soon. Merci, obrigada.